All right. Welcome to the September 21st, 2015 meeting of the City of Pacifica Planning Commission. Roll call.
Commissioner Vaterlos.
Here.
Commissioner Evans.
Present.
Vice Chair Gordon.
Here.
Chairman Campbell.
Here.
Commissioner Cooper.
Present.
Commissioner Niblin.
Here.
The commission has a quorum with 6 commissioners present and Commissioner Brown absent.
Great. Let's have the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll lead it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, on to administrative business. First, approval of the order of agenda. Looks like we have
It's agenda, it's not minutes.
agenda. Yes, I was looking into my minutes. All right, I have motions. Commissioner Gordon,
I move that we approve the order of agenda.
Commissioner Cooper.
Second.
Let's vote. Okay, that passes unanimously. And now on to approval of the minutes. We have 3. So we'll start with the July 20th. Let's see. Okay, Commissioner Cooper.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of July 20th.
Okay, Commissioner Gordon.
I'll second.
Okay, we've had a motion and a second. Please vote.
Just like to note I'm abstaining. I wasn't at that meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner Neblin. Okay, onward, on to the August 3rd, 2015 minutes. Okay. All right, Commissioner Neblin.
I'd like to move approval.
Okay, Commissioner Cooper.
I'm abstaining from this one. I wasn't present at the meeting.
Right. We've had a motion and a second. Please vote.
No, we don't have a second. yet.
No.
You don't have a second.
I'll second.
Oh, second. Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry. Okay, we've had a motion second. Please vote. Okay, that passes 4 A's. And on to the last minute, September 8th, 2015. All right, I was absent. Commissioner Brown was absent, Commissioner Cooper was absent. Okay. Commissioner Evans.
Yeah, I move, unless there's a problem, I move to accept the minutes for September 8th.
Okay. Commissioner Vaterlos.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Please vote. Okay. That passes with 4 ayes. All right. Onward. Designation of liaison to the City Council meeting.
There's none needed.
Okay. Onward to oral communications. This portion of the agenda is available to the public to address the Planning Commission on any issue within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Commission that is not on the agenda tonight. The time allowed for any speaker will be 3 minutes. If you wish to speak, please fill out one of these yellow cards. They're located in the back. And we will start with Betty Duran.
Good evening, Commissioners and staff. I'm here to speak about my favorite topic, or perhaps your least favorite topic, 7-Eleven. I just want to read from page 254 of the July 27th packet, excuse me. The original development plan for the Fairmont Subdivision Number 4, approved by City Council on April 18, 1964, and amended by the City Council on June 10, 1965, authorize a service station use for the subject parcel as well as the site of the existing Shell station to the northwest. I looked up the definition of service station in the dictionary. A gas station, typically one having the facilities to provide automotive repairs and maintenance. I looked it up in the Pacifica Code of Ordinances also. Section 9-4.268, service station. Service station shall mean an occupancy which provides for the retail sale of motor vehicle fuel. In addition to the retail sale of motor vehicle fuel, service station may also include the retail sale of petroleum products and automotive accessories, the servicing of motor vehicles, and it continues and ends with wheel balancing, and the testing, adjustment, and replacement of carburetors, coils, condensers, distributor caps, fan belts, filters, generators, points, rotors, spark plugs, voltage regulators, water, fuel pumps, water hoses, and wiring. The fact that I'm mentioning this is, I don't know how you identify what you've placed up there, but that's not what was authorized in 1964 and 1965. It's not a service station that you've put up there. I would also like to read, I think I'm going to have to move it along a bit, and comment how I'm feeling. How would any member of this community feel if at the last meeting of July 27th, the City Council had given staff instructions to come back with more evidence to uphold the appeal and deny the permits, and instead came back with 4 options? What do the last-minute maneuvers at 7-Eleven made on this city mean? Joining the after the July 27th meeting, joining the Chamber of Commerce, making a $2,500 contribution to Fog Fest, making approximately a $700 contribution to Sunset. Somewhere it just doesn't sit right with me, but I leave it to you to decide. Some might argue that they are simply good practice, business practice, but I don't think so. The reason that the taxes that 7-Eleven employed are so harmful to society is that important decisions affecting the allocation of resources, in this case the land at 700 Hickey Boulevard, they may be determined by ulterior motives with little or no concern, well, certainly not enough, for the impact that these resource misallocations will have on society, mainly our neighborhood, that should be honestly served by decision makers.
Thank you. Thank you. That was 3. It goes fast.
Thank you.
Next up, Beth Benson. Oh, you are. I'm sorry. This was, okay, yes, you are. Sorry. It was the card color confused me. All right. That's all right. My confusion as well. Okay. I'm not seeing any other cards, and I'm going to close oral communications and move on to the consent items that we've got on the agenda. First up is an extension of permit filed by Joshua Moore, owner, to construct a living area addition of 700 square feet and deck of 250 square feet to the rear of an existing single-family dwelling at 1493 Grand Avenue. The proposed action is to grant a 1-year extension.
Mr. Chair, we ordinarily would take the consent items as a whole unless the commissioner desired to pull one.
Oh, okay. Well, let's ask.
Can we question something on this?
You can ask a minor question. If it turns into extensive discussion, we'll have to pull the item.
Go ahead. Yes.
Thank you. My only question is on the second one, since this is a consent item, why is it only 6 months rather than the normal year that we give? I wasn't sure. It didn't really say in here.
Absolutely. The applicant only requested 6 months. I believe she did that to demonstrate her commitment to pursuing the project and not to extend it longer than was absolutely needed to get through the grading moratorium. That's my understanding.
Is there an issue with money-wise, fee-wise, anything to extend it to a year? The only reason I'm saying this is, as we all know, things get complicated, And I just thought it would may be better to give her the year up front, so she doesn't have to come back to us again. I don't know. It's just a thought, though.
Absolutely. There's nothing limiting the commission from approving a different duration, whether it be shorter or longer. But in order to do that, you'd have to pull it from the consent calendar.
Commissioner Neblin?
I was going to move approval of the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
I don't want to to upset the apple cart, so I'll just.
Okay. I tend to read what's on the consent item, but the other consent item was the extension of a permit filed by Sue Sheshman, owner, to construct the living area addition of 1,300 square feet and remodel 1,600 square feet of an existing single-family dwelling at Blackburn Terrace, and the proposed action was to grant a 6-month extension. Okay, we've had a motion and a second on these two consent items. Please vote. Okay, passes unanimously. Now we come to the public hearing. Public hearing, coastal development permit to demolish an existing apartment building located at 330 Esplanade Drive, which has been uninhabited for several years due to unsafe building conditions. The proposed action, continue the item to October 5th, 2015. Staff report, please.
Thank you. So this is a request to continue this item. It was noticed in the newspaper. The actual mailing notice hasn't been sent yet. We will send that prior to the hearing date in accordance with the requirements. And actually, staff is requesting that we modify the recommendation and motion and continue to October 19th, which is the second meeting in October.
Okay, thank you. Questions for staff? I see no questions for staff. Okay, let's hear from the applicant. Beth Benson, please.
Did you guys just continue this matter and you'll talk about it October 19th?
I don't think we can take it.
We haven't continued
Oh.
yet.
We can take
Do we just continue it?
May I address that?
Yes.
So you're going to vote on that, and
Why don't you just go up to the mic? It's fine. We can.
I'm a resident in 310, and I'm really interested in stabilizing the cliff in whatever way keeps the occupants who are still living on that side of the cliff to keep us living on that side of the cliff. That's really important to me, so that's what I'm here to represent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have further comments? If you do, I can. Can we hear them tonight on a continuance?
Yeah, we haven't voted for the.
Because we haven't voted for the continuance yet. Yeah. Yeah.
Speak on the item.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
So go ahead. Why don't you go ahead and provide your comments, because we don't have the applicant here anyway.
those are essentially, so those are my comments that I implore you in your capacity for the city of Pacifica to keep the cliff standing and to keep the residents on that side able to inhabit the one building at that end that is still inhabitable. And there are so many possibilities for the spaces that are dormant. It's a lively end of Pacifica and beloved for its views and its affordability, and I'm really wanting to stay there. So whatever you can do to keep that cliff alive, we would greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes, Tina.
I can speak to those comments. Part of the reason why we're asking for this continuance is so that the owner of the property can work with their engineers and geotech consultants. That is also being reviewed by the city's contract geotech consultant to make sure that when this building is demolished, the site remains in a condition that will in no way further endanger the cliff. And so that part of that is to make sure that it's graded and is going to be draining towards the street, towards the city stormwater system. and not going to be further exacerbating any problems by sending stormwater to the west over the bank. So this was just to be frank, this was partially a code enforcement issue. And so we noticed this item in the abundance of caution in case the owner was ready to go, because we didn't want to be any part of delaying them getting to you for their CDP permit. But we have had to, they are cooperative, I want to say, and so it's just taking a little bit longer, and that's the reason for the continuance.
Thank you. Thanks for the explanation. All right. Do we have any commissioners who want to speak on this? Yes, Commissioner Neblin.
Yeah, no comment.
No comment. Commissioner Cooper?
I'm ready to make a motion if I have no other comments.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to continue this item to October 20th, or October 19th.
19th. Commissioner Neblin?
I'll second that.
Had a motion and a second. Please vote. And that passes unanimously. All right. There's no consideration items tonight, so onwards to communications. Commission communications. Anyone? Commissioner Gordon.
Sure, I had a question for staff, and it's just a follow-up on something we were talking about last meeting on the process that we were going to look at to streamline the requests for extensions of permits. I remember you had a great idea and a great proposal, and I was just following up on that.
Yeah, so we are going to implement that. It's just going to take a few steps to roll into process. So one part is actually amending the ordinance so that use permits are good for a longer period of time. And then the other part, short of that, because that'll take a process, is new applications that come before you. The condition will actually read that if the conditions are exactly the same as this was your suggestion, that there may be an opportunity for administrative approval of a one-year extension. So because we just haven't had a chance to implement that part yet, or obviously the code amendments, that's why you'll still see some from time to time. But as we move forward, they'll come to you less and less.
So what you're saying, but short of the amending the code, we could bake that into a condition of approval. Oh, that's great. So that could be potentially implemented.
Yeah, the next one, the next
Yeah,
use permit that
great.
comes before your other permit, I intend to implement that.
Awesome, thanks.
All right, I had a question for staff. Where are we with the 7-Eleven proposal for Highway 1 and Lindemar?
No application.
No application yet. Okay. I had a second question. Can you, and we've had a conversation about this offline, but can you explain the signage for the grocery outlet at the new grocery outlet at Pedro Point and why we're not going to see it?
Yeah, so it came up also the last meeting as well as a point of explanation. So the Patriot Point Shopping Center has a sign program. That was the discretionary action that was in front of the Planning Commission. And so if a application comes in that complies with the sign program, staff is required to approve it. There's no discretion there for us. And initially, I think I sent you guys an update. They had come in with a sign that did not comply. We told them that it required Planning Commission approval. And they went back and they redesigned their sign.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for staff? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. Commissioner communication. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The other way around. Staff communications.
None this
None.
evening. Thank you.
Okay, I think we've come to the end. Lights, lights, lights. Commissioner Neblin.
I'd like to move that we, actually, I didn't push the button. I'd like to move it that we adjourn.
Very good. Commissioner Cooper.
Second the motion.
We had a motion and a second. Please vote. And that passes unanimously. Thank you. The meeting is now over.
Ready to push. I was like, I didn't push it.
You called the one guy who didn't push
One guy who didn't push a button. I was like,
They all lit up.